All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for stopping by. This is Ninja Chris, and this is going to be one of my Ninja Chris casts. And we're kind of going back to what I used to do before. I previously was running some eSpot tournaments over in the amateur Dota 2 section, and it's about time that I get back on my regular foot, checking out all of the casts being suggested over from the Reddit's Dota 2 Cast It section, where if you want to have a game cast, go ahead and post it over there. Let me know in one way or another, and I will definitely cast it for you. So either way, thank you for stopping by. I really appreciate it. Like I was saying, it's been a couple days since I last cast. Mainly, I had a little bit of let's say, a tech problem that kind of kept me a little away from casting Dota games for a bit. But it's about time I get back on this horse. So let's have some fun, and thanks for stopping by. Much appreciated. Anyway, so like I was saying, we've been recommended a game over from the Dota 2 Cast It Lounge. And this is just this is a standard, this is actually a captain's mode pick being run. So we'll be getting to that very shortly. Nonetheless, once again, I just wanted to say thank you for joining me. I really do appreciate it. I'm trying to actually increase the amount of content that I produce for you guys. So if you want to let me know how I'm doing for you, I would greatly appreciate it. Let me know in chat. I do have it off to my side. So I will absolutely be reading your chat messages if I make a mistake on something or whatever happens. If the visuals are not working or there might be a video problem, let me know. I will fix it. I will do my absolute best for you guys. So nonetheless, I do appreciate it. Otherwise, if you're enjoying the cast, I would love to have you subscribe. I will be doing more pubs until I can get more amateur casting work on tournaments. So either way, I would love to have you along for the ride. Thanks again. We're going to go ahead and kick right into the game right now, where the Radiant team have already picked up a nice little disruptor. And this has been a very popular pick in a lot of amateur games, especially the amateur tournaments. He's a very popular, powerful support who's seen a lot of play recently. He's personally one of my favorites, but especially with that glimpse being used in different ways, especially with the First Blood, which may or not have a notion to the Terrain Protector's Leech Seed, which is also seeing a lot of First Blood attempt lately. So always love to see the Disruptor, especially on those First Blood attempts. And the Dire are going to go ahead and respond with a nice little Witch Doctor support. So neither team really convinced and ready to... I am not going to say that. Thank you very much, though, Dodo Kyle. So either way, I'm going to... threw me off my game there for a minute. Have I? I have said that a lot. Okay, well, thank you. I've got a little bit of caffeine in my system, so I can hopefully make it through these games all right. But I do appreciate that. I'll try and actually watch out for that. Either way, like I was saying, we do see the Dire pick up a nice little Witch Doctor. Neither team ready to start picking up the supports. And we're not entirely sure if that's going to be a Wraith King support or not. Not used a lot in pub play, but it definitely is a valid option. I enjoy seeing him, and Radiant are going to go ahead and respond with a nice little Invoker. Sure thing. Reading over your chat real quick. I do actually wait until a little bit of the draft. I generally wait until the first 4 bans are finished off. So that's where I usually kick in, because people kind of do like seeing the bans and picks. But at the same time, there has to be some content for me to speak. Otherwise, it's not completely out of the picture. Nonetheless, I'm going to go back to the picks and bans. We actually see a nice little Faceless Void banned out. I'm a little surprised he didn't get banned in the first phase, but it's not uncommon to see the Lycan and the Tidehunter banned, so that's probably why that happened. Nonetheless, seeing other very powerful carries being picked out of the phase. The Viper and the Doom, also very popular. So, reading over your suggestions real quick.
10 seconds remaining.
That's fair. Absolutely.
5 seconds remaining.
Okay, I can work on that. Absolutely. I will write. Hold on, I'm going to write that down real quick. Well, actually, I will write that down later. Right now, we're in the middle of a game. So, nonetheless, I do love the Witch Doctor and Wraith King startup. A lot of great stuns coming out from the Dire right off the bat. Hopefully, that continues in. Unfortunately, we have seen a few too many of the games where a team will just completely forget stuns and disables. They won't have anything to really initiate upon. So glad to see that, at least from the Dire side. Disruptor very powerful with that, of course, so great to see that coming in.
10 seconds
Waiting for the
remaining.
last of the band phases to be finished off.
5 seconds
All right, well, thank you for
remaining.
stopping by. I do appreciate it. And to everybody else that's
Reserve
been
time.
joining, I see that I'm up to 7 viewers right now. That's actually a little bit for me, so I do appreciate that. I do have a chat running off to the side right now, so if there are any things that you think I should work on, I would really appreciate the feedback. So anything I could do to improve these casts. Otherwise, I'm going to continue working on pub games that were recommended for Reddit over on the Dota 2 casted section until I hopefully can gain a better viewership and potentially improve and provide value
Radiant
to
team
amateur
pick.
tournaments, which is kind of where I hope to go with this. So, like I'm saying, if there's anything I can do to improve or anything that I should be working on, I would love it if you could give me some feedback. So once again, either way, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. Seeing the nice little rat Dota being picked up on the side of the Dire with the Nature's Prophet, especially with the Witch Doctor and the Wraith King, this is already looking to be a very powerful late game lineup, which I'm
10
going to be.
seconds remaining.
I'm already favoring a bit. I do wonder if the Nature's Prophet is going to be landing
5
against that
seconds
Invoker, or
remaining.
perhaps he's going to go jungling. So not entirely sure on the Dire's side on the
Reserve time.
on the draft just yet. Nonetheless, and the Invoker absolutely ready to show his strength. Taking a look over Super Tuned real quick.
Sand King.
Dire
Absolutely.
team
Right now, I
pick.
kind of do believe that I've been going more the route of a hype caster. I never really thought that's how I would go. But to be honest with
Radiant
you,
team pick.
I would like to find a way to specialize in both. But obviously, that's near impossible. So we'll see what happens. I still am very new and early in the caster position. It's something I've wanted to do, but I'm not sure if it's actually something I'm good at. So right now I'm just trying to get a feel for what I'm capable of. Nonetheless, I thank you. I do appreciate that, and I do agree entirely. So
10
only
seconds
time will tell
remaining.
on which way actually suits me as a caster better.
5
So
seconds remaining.
either way, like I said, I do appreciate that, and I agree wholeheartedly. I'm going to go back to the pick bands
Reserve
phase right
time.
now. We do see a response Sand King, which is going to be a lot of fun in the, well, not for us in the early game, because obviously we are wondering if the Nature's Prophet is going to be causing some mayhem in the middle lane, or if that's, either way, the Sand King is going to be jungling, which is always a lot of fun in the mid game, especially as soon as he hits that great little level 6. So going to have some fun little fights there, especially with the Disruptor ult keeping everybody nice and in place. We do see an Ancient Apparition who's even going to continue helping out the nice little fight potential on the Dire side, however, especially with that Witch Doctor keeping everybody in play. And we see a
Dire
nice little
team
Juggernaut
ban.
being picked up by the Radiant side. I did realize I like to say that a lot. So I'm going to try, I'm really trying to do a better job being unique with my wording. So if there are any things that I tend to repeat a lot,
10 seconds
let me know
remaining.
so I can fix that, because those are things I do not want to do.
5 seconds remaining.
We continue to see that Juggernaut, who's going to have some great fight potential with the Disruptor keeping everybody in play.
Reserve time.
And essentially not anybody's really not going to be able to get out of a fight. Dire are going to be
Radiant
great at
team
starting
ban.
fights, and Radiant are going to be great at... Thank you, Super Tuned. Much appreciated. Love the feedback. Take care. We do see, like I was saying, we're definitely going to see with the Dire side that they're ready to
10
start fights,
seconds
and I do
remaining.
believe that Radiant are going to be ready to finish the fights. So, and we continue to see a
Dire team
Puck
pick.
and a Centaur being banned out. So, a little surprised on Radiant. I guess they are believing that the Nature's Prophet is going to be jungling because they do not see a mid. That very well may be true with the Nature's Prophet in the middle lane. Not entirely sure.
Radiant team pick.
Thank you, Radish. I do try and not do that. That is one thing I don't like to say in either actual conversation with people. I would much rather take a pause and not say but at one point I would like to completely eliminate that from my verbiage. So we'll see what happens. And we do, in fact, see the Tinker
10
mid
seconds
response. So that will be a
remaining.
jungling Nature's Prophet, the Wraith King, and I
5
would
seconds
think
remaining.
the Wraith King in the off lane with the
Reserve time.
Nature's Prophet. I'm not entirely sure how Dire are going to line this up. It's a little bit more understandable with the Radiant side, especially with that. Especially with that Sand King just ready to go straight to jungling right away. Invoker, natural, mid, Disruptor, easy lane. Juggernaut, I'm not going to say I feel confident seeing him in the off lane, but at least he does have that heal. And he does have, I'm dropping the name, the Blade Fury to stop him from being caught out. So he could
10
very well be
seconds
their
remaining.
offlaner, but it's not like we couldn't potentially see something a little bit more
5
powerful.
seconds
They don't have
remaining.
much of a tank though, so we'll see what
Phantom
happens.
Lancer.
And they're going to go with the late game Phantom Lancer. So very interesting setup here. Each team have a lot of rat potential, and each team have their own unique spin on fight. So I'm not entirely sure who's going to do really well, especially with a Tinker and a Phantom Lancer. Boy, oh boy, that's going to be very interesting to see. Not sure who's going to win that fight, but it's naturally obvious that, or at least in my perspective, that whoever really gets that early game lead really going to take off and completely shut out the enemy team. So just more so than what you would normally see in a standard pub match. Either way,
Prepare
the laning
for
phase
battle.
has begun. We're ready to get into the fight, and here we go. Standard Radiant against Standard Dire. We're going to go through the lineups real quick. We have rank shits on the Juggernaut. Over in the Phantom Lancer, we have Apollo 7. In the middle lane, we have Ness on the Invoker. In the safe lane, we have Nex on the Disruptor. And finally, on the Sand King, we have DLD. Up on the Dire side, on Tinker, we have Tango Wango. With the Wraith King, we have Half Past Time. Nature's Prophets running the Game of Thrones Witch Doctor with I Am Extra Bored. And finally, the Ancient Apparition of Asylum. Now, we do have a great little smoke coming up in the bottom lane. They might even find the next starting off. They're going to go ahead and stun him twice and actually continue working on him. That's going to be an easy first blood for the side of the Dire as they continue to wait for the pause, as a matter of fact. Unfortunately, they do that because the Disruptor has disconnected. That's not cool. Very unfortunate on the side of the Radiant, giving away not only the first blood, but even potentially a second, depending on whether or not they choose to go after the Sand King. Now, the Tinker, let's take a look. How many wards do they do? They do have some sentry wards, so I wouldn't be surprised if they do place some nice little sentries in the easy lane just to stop that Sand King. I mean, that is what they are for, naturally. So we'll see what happens, waiting for the game to finish being paused. Nonetheless, we're going to go ahead. Okay, there we go. And we do have the Disruptor returning to the battle, unfortunately already giving away that first blood. And he even gave away a nice little 409 gold. So, interesting little jokes being tossed around on the side of the Radiant. And we go back to the game. Gonna wait for the Witch Doctor to drop some nice little sentry wards. Actually, they choose to drop the 7th minute ward and take a couple steps back out on the Magic Bush. Likewise, we have the Sand King back in the middle lane, strangely enough. That's probably just until he begins to go for the medium and the hard camps. We'll see what happens. Nonetheless, Dire choosing to retreat back into their side of the base. And the
battle
Radiant
begins.
continue to get themselves in position. And likewise, we do see the Juggernaut in the hard lane, the Invoker taking the mid while the Sand King held down the fort. And we do have a tri-lane in the bottom lane. Well, as much of a tri-lane as you can make, with the Sand King going to be jungling wherever he wants. Tinker completely missing his block, while we do have a tri-lane response up in the top lane. Hopefully going to be able to have a shut down that Juggernaut. At least that's their hopes. I am rather hoping for the Radiant to get some comeback for what happened earlier. And we even have the Witch Doctor with the invisibility. He's ready to shut down this nice little Juggernaut and continue work on him. We do have the Blade Fury smartly popped by the rank shies and does get out very easily. Either way, did take a nice little bit of harassment damage coming from the Dire. They weren't ready to give away a complete... I was going to say they weren't ready to give away their advantage, but obviously that's not going to happen just yet. Meanwhile, we do continue to see it have some nice little harassment going on in the top lane, especially with the Dire pushing all the way in. Taking a look at the last hits. Naturally, we do see a nice little advantage, a very quick 1 minute advantage, of course, but I do like to believe that that means one team is desperately pushed in a lane, which may set a pace, to be honest with you. If a team is ready to push so hard so early, that might just be a bit of a problem. Nonetheless, back in the bottom lane, we do have the Radiant doing the same thing, pushing back in the bottom lane, and giving the Nature's Prophet a nice little chance to get an early lead. And they're going to try and initiate on top of him. He's down to half health, continuing to be stunned, and he's going to drop very shortly. And the Radiant do get a return kill on top of the Nature's Prophet. Very well played as they continue to back. Sand King taking a couple of spanks by the tower, but ultimately completely unhurt as the Nature's Prophet returns to the lane upon spawn, and he's right back in this fight. In fact, they only got about 218 gold because I don't remember who got the first level kill. So, looking for that extra little bit of gold to whoever got that first kill. I don't remember who picked it up. Actually, we can find out. It was the Witch Doctor who got it. So, whoever gets that first little bit of gold, that first kill upon him is going to be a big start on the Radiant. Continuing to push in the top lane. Still waiting to see a little bit extra aggression. Perhaps they're going to jump down on top of this Juggernaut and maybe go for an actual kill, depending on whether or not... No, he's got a ton of points in his Blade Fury and in his health, so it's very likely he's not going to get out of... He's going to be able to easily get out of fights.
Haste.
Nonetheless, he's going to continue ganking underneath and checking out whatever he can find. We do have the Invoker coming in as well. They're going to pick off this Ancient Apparition as best they can. Cold Snap being dropped on top of him, and that is one dead Ancient Apparition. The other monkey is going to continue to just back out. He's not ready to give up his hide just yet, while the Tinker returns in the middle lane with, I believe, now his bottle. No, he does already have his bottle. The Courier giving him a Sage Mask very shortly. So, very early startup for this Tinker. Not actually, on second thought, I'm not entirely sure if 3 minutes in is a little fast or slow for a bottle, but at very least, they've got that. Taking a look over your comment real quick. Okay, thank you very much for that comment, calling out the whole wee bit. It is something I do believe I need to work on. To be completely honest with you, I never really noticed that I speak in the third person, except for when I'm casting. It's just not something I do, and it's not something I like. I have had other people tell me that, but I need to work on that. So thank you for calling me out. I will try and work on that this game. So, much appreciated yet again. We do have the nice little Tinker returning to the bottom rune. He's going to find a nice little double damage rune, fill up his bottle, and continue to pressure that Invoker, who doesn't even have a bottle yet. Potentially very close to finishing that purchase. But nonetheless, he's very far behind. He's down less than half of the last hits in comparison. Up in the trap lane, we do have some initiation up on top of the Witch King, or the Witch Doctor, as the Juggernaut continues to just work on this Witch Doctor. He's going to get the kill, but I'm not entirely sure if he's going to get out on himself. He doesn't have a TP scroll, and the Nature's Prophet even comes to help finish off the kill. All the while, back in the bottom lane, that's going to allow the Radiant to continue pushing on the lane, but a 1-for-1 kill just working out in Radiant's favor. They're going to take a couple of steps back, not really ready to pressure too much. But all the while, a great little start for the Radiant, getting nice 1-for-1 trade there.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
All the while, Nature's Prophet helping to push in this tier 1 top lane. And the Radiant just completely unable to answer this just yet. We're still waiting on the return from the Juggernaut, but it's a little too late. All he's going to be able to do is pull this lane back. All the while, the Nature's Prophet's most likely going to get the last hits for this. Nope, Ancient Apparition getting the gold. And very shortly, potentially finishing off a Mana Boots, I'm thinking. And we do have a final level 6 drop on the Juggernaut, sticking his neck way too far, only getting 3 cuts, and he's going to pay for his life with this one very shortly. Monkey actually probably going to get the burst from this one, and there he goes, giving that Monkey even more gold than he needs. So nothing too extraordinary for the carries just yet. And we do have the Nature's Prophet ready to snipe out the chicken. As soon as it comes back into lane, here he goes. Is he going to get the last hits on it? 1, 2. It's going to have to be a 4th hit, and it's not enough. And he's going to just teleport home. Not in case he drops first. That was too close. So actually we do have the Invoker being picked up here in the middle lane. Stopped in place by the Ancient Apparition, and the Tinker finally gets the kill for that one. And Invoker, okay, excuse me. I saw the Tinker name and I got thrown off there for a minute. So, nonetheless, the Phantom Lancer and the Disruptor continuing to push in this lane as best they can, but they're beating their heads against a brick wall after maybe 2 or 3 creep waves. It's only half down. So, not a whole lot else going on. Ancient Apparition finished on off his Mana Boots. A great little startup, only less than 7 minutes in, but it didn't hurt that he got himself a nice little Juggernaut kill for that one. Likewise, back in the middle lane, the Tinker really starting to get fed now. Not item-wise, but he is a full 2 levels across.
Radiant's middle tower is under
Full 2 levels up on this Invoker. Take a look at the graphs right now. It's heavily swung on the Dire's favor. About 2,000 gold and only about 500 XP. And I mean, it has very rocky changes all over the place. So not a whole lot of time. Nonetheless, the gold being the important factor for the Dire right now. Taking out a tower and many kills easily. As the Tinker gets completely wiped of mana. Great play by that Invoker, completely shutting down that Tinker until he goes home. And at least holding it back for a few more seconds. Nature's Prophet continuing to work on the ancient camps, picking up an extra little bit of gold here and there, wanting to do whatever they can to maintain their extra level of pressure. All the while, everybody else just kind of gone back to standard reset. Everybody going back to their lanes, working on their jungle as best they can. The 7-minute ward has now expired, leaving the Sand King to go ahead and ward up. This is a pub game. So unfortunately, we did not really see any committed de-warding going on the side of the Radiant. So actually, we do have a nice little chase here in the bottom lane where the Invoker is being completely picked out of place. And he's about to drop down. Great little startup by the Disruptor, keeping everybody back. And the Invoker getting out with maybe 20 health to his name.
Invisibility.
Nature's Prophet even picking up the nice little invisibility rune. He's going to go scouting, see if he can find that Invoker, but unfortunately he is far too late. As the rest of the Dire continue to push in the middle lane, this could very well become an attack on top of the Juggernaut, and they're going to go ahead and just push in on the lane. 4 against 1 in a tower, easily picked off, forcing the Juggernaut to take a couple steps back. We don't see any teleports in, so nothing too important there. We do have a nice little Soul Ring being picked up by the Tinker, continuing to push his lane. And Juggernaut just strangely trying to gain team aggro, but it's really not going to do any good and easily give the Nature's Prophet the secured tower kill. While the Wraith King continues to push back in the middle lane, Invoker returning to the fight in the middle lane, but unfortunately too little too late. And we do see the Juggernaut being stopped by the Witch Doctor. If the Invoker is able to come in and initiate on top of this, he's not going to have too much in return on the Dire team. And we even have the complete amount of mana being wiped out of that Witch Doctor as the Tinker joins the fight. And we're going to continue seeing picked off. Actually, nope, he's just going to spook him off. And everybody else on the Radiant just going to run away with their tail between their legs. Juggernaut healing himself back up, giving himself a nice little mana boost and in turn for some health. We have the Wraith King diving way too far out of position. The Juggernaut's not out. He's out of mana, but this very well may just give the Invoker his first kill. And nope, he already has 1 kill. Nonetheless, the Wraith King pops his ultimate, taking a lot of damage, already down half health. He's not tanky early on, and he's going to drop very shortly to the Juggernaut. And that's going to be a nice little kill on... No, it misses the Disruptor. Very, very great try by the Ancient Apparition, but unfortunately not good enough just yet. And we're going to see everybody else returning. Tinker going to go ahead and push in the bottom. Actually, I take that back. He's going to go ahead and work on the creep camp, or on the ancient cap, which was already cleaned out by the Nature's Prophet. No extra... oh, excuse me. It's because the Radiant decided to smartly place a ward. So the last time the camp was actually being picked on was by the Nature's Prophet, and the Radiant chose smartly to stop that. Very well played. stopping some very much needed or craved gold, I should say, is the better word, by the Dire. Continuing to want to farm up that Tinker, who is, I would believe he's getting close to that level 1 Dagon. I do say nice little a lot. I was starting to pick that one up as well. So I'm glad you brought that to my attention. I will try and not do that as well. Oh, I have so many nuances I need to fix. Nonetheless, we do back, and nonetheless is another one I say. Phantom Lancer back in the bottom lane, popping a nice little fake of himself as we had, it appeared to be 3, or maybe I was just miscounting. The Tinker continuing to push back in the bottom lane. Best as they can, while we have a nice little smoke gang coming up on top of the Wraith King. He's going to be stunned and slowed into place. Tinker returning on top of the lane, but it's going to be a little too late as the Wraith King does not have ultimate. And there he drops, the silence being applied and forcing the Tinker right out of the lane. Very well played by the Disruptor, but unfortunately the Tinker's going to trump that and return right back to the lane because that's just what Tinker does. He's not going to be able to take out this Juggernaut, but nonetheless, the Radiant are going to leave their heads held high, but tails between their legs as they are running out of health. Invoker looking for that last second pick off on top of the Invoker, or on top of the Tinker. It's just not going to happen.
Haste.
Thank you very much, Radis. That's actually something I've been trying to work on. I will not say that it's something I was the greatest at in the past, but I am definitely trying to improve on it. So I still have work to go. Wraith King starting off the fight on top of the Disruptor as everybody else continues working on top of this nice little juicy Juggernaut who's going to get picked off by the Tinker. The rest of the Dire continue to pick off on top of the Sand King while the Wraith King gets the kill for that one. And now they're going hunting. They're going to continue working, and if they're lucky, they will find this Disruptor, not before he actually gets out. Unfortunately, Nature's Prophet not able to stun him, or even find him for that matter. We do have a Maelstrom being picked up on the Nature's Prophet to continue working on against that Phantom Lancer and stop him from getting too fed too fast. Tinker returned to the middle lane, ready to push back in everything and see if they can continue working, start working on some tier 2s. If I recall, the middle lane has taken a little bit of damage. Actually, take that back. The top has taken the majority of this damage. The Invoker is going to get popped by the AA, but doesn't really matter all that much. Doing a little bit of scouting, but overall nothing too important. Tinker trying to return fire against this nice little Phantom Assassin. Let's take a look at the graphs real quick while we're little dull right now. Over 5,000 gold on the side of the Dire, and strangely enough, Radiant are actually taking off in the XP, potentially due to the Juggernaut and the I actually, in second thought, I really don't know exactly how they pulled all that extra XP. I kind of figured it would have easily swung in the way of the Tinker. Actually, they're going to go ahead and initiate on top of the Tinker. They see him ahead of time, and they get the jump on a very well-played Radiant and very much a cooked Tinker as the Invoker gets the kill. And we do have the Ancient Apparition coming to pick on top of this Juggernaut. He very well may go down very shortly. He can't heal himself. He's going to go ahead and stop that damage by going Magic Immune with the Blade Fury. Very smart play, and it's going to save his life. All the while back in the bottom lane, we continue to see the nice little startup against the Nature's Prophet and the Phantom Lancer. Rat Dota versus Rat Dota. See who's able to get this lead. Push in the lane, and hopefully the Radiant will get a chance to take their first racks. It's very unfortunate that they haven't gotten anything, but that's also very difficult to have to do, especially when you're facing down a Tinker. Nonetheless, with that XP swinging so heavily in their favor, it's not like they don't have the power, the raw strength to work against them. Phantom Lancer actually getting the pick on the Nature's Prophet. Very sorry for missing that kill. As the rest of the team continue to work, having a nice little dust pop, it's going to go ahead and expose the Phantom Lancer, but unfortunately the team are just not looking in the right way. Maybe they just chose to let him go. Very interesting. Oh, they chose to chase the wrong Phantom Lancer who was exposed. Very interesting little play, but it does get him out in the top lane. We have the Juggernaut actually picking off the Wraith King. And Disruptor getting a secondary kill. So, great little setup. Tinker actually choosing to come in on top of this, canceling his teleport. Very smartly. Oh, excuse me. He blinked into the woods. Oh, the camera. And he's going to continue to push him right back out of the lane. Unfortunately, March of the Machine is just a little too strong. Come on, camera. You got to work with me, not against me. As the Tinker chooses just to go home. Back in the bottom lane, we do have everybody 3 on the side of the Radiant. Taking a couple steps back. No TP scrolls on their team, unfortunately, as the Disruptor is actually very close to finishing off his urn. So a great little pickup for their team. I don't believe they have a mech. They do not have a mech, which is very interesting and surprising to see. It's going to cost them later on, especially with the Tinker continuing to push everything in on this bottom
Radiant's
lane.
bottom tower is
Back
under
in the middle
attack.
lane, the Radiant are ready to start pushing into this middle lane. Phantom Lancer starting to get his legs, as you could say. Getting that late game strength and ready to start pushing into towers. The rest of the Dire, minus the Nature's Prophet, who can join at any given time, pushing in that middle lane, ready to look for a fight and potentially get some picks. And the Radiant are nowhere nearby. Fortunately, they do have some great ward coverage coming back in the jungle of the Radiant, so it's not like they can't find that. What's he fighting? Oh, he's just fighting creeps. I totally thought he was initiating AA ultimate, coming in to try and catch this Juggernaut off guard. Gonna do no such thing, as the Radiant or the Dire are gonna continue playing Rat Dota and push in this bottom lane very, very deeply. And they're going to be far too late, unfortunately, as the Nature's Prophet being picked out, slowed down, running out of mana, and that's one dead Nature's Prophet. It looks like it's going to go down to the Juggernaut, just tripping over my words, as the rest of the Dire choose to say this is a great time to... No, they're not going to go on top of Roshan. I was expecting them to, and I appear I was wrong. All right, now we do choose to see that initiation. Wraith King taking a lot of damage out of this. He might just be a little too low at this point to continue working on this Roshan.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
All the while, Phantom Lancer doing
Dire's bottom
taking his
tower
opportunity to
has
take out
fallen.
the first tower, while the rest of Radiant are pushing in the middle lane. This is not what Dire want to be doing with their advantage, or the tower advantage that they had earlier. Radiant are continuing to get the kills, and they're showing off that they have the possibility to completely wipe out the Dire. It's going to be very difficult, especially with the Tinker and the Nature's Prophet performing much needed Rat Dota. But nonetheless, Radiant absolutely have the fight potential, and all they have to do is start it, and they will finish. In the bottom lane, we do have, in the bottom jungle, we do see the Nature's Prophet continuing to work on whatever creep he can, pushing the lanes back in, and hopefully getting some extra gold on their side, while the rest of the Dire are continuing to defend their towers as best they can. And come on, camera, you can't keep fighting with me. We do see two drop down, Disruptor, Invoker, and Ancient Apparition each getting kills. 4 deaths down, 3 on the Radiant as the Invoker and the Sand King desperately drop. There goes the Juggernaut as well. So very bad trade on the side of the Radiant. Dire doing a great job jumping up there and starting to work on the fight.
Structures are fortified.
I do apologize about the camera. If you'll take a look at where my cursor is, there's this bug where if I'm scrolling off to the left, it'll just cut. Or it won't just cut. What's there? I guess it's just vertically. So I'm trying to do my best, but I am learning a new camera grip system to make this a little bit smoother for you guys. Hopefully over time I can improve.
Tower is under attack.
Likewise, we do see back in the bottom lane, Phantom Lancer just, strangely enough, he was up here very shortly, not too long ago, pushing back in that tower. Must have been Tinker's handiwork, as I believe he was the only one to not get picked off earlier, because he was nowhere near the fight. The rest of the Dire
Radiant's
continuing to
middle
spread out.
tower is under
Witch
attack.
Doctor doing a great little job, placing wards all over the place in the Radiant jungle, completely spotting everything going on. Very smart plays. Radiant, likewise, having no wards on the map. This is going to hurt them desperately later on. They're going desperately for fights, and they're always in the enemy jungle. But at the same time, the Disruptor has just not been placing. He's got 3 wards. He's not placing any. Very strange behavior. Likewise, nonetheless, we do see the Tinker. Need to stop saying nonetheless. We have the Tinker and the Witch
Radiant's
Doctor
top
returning back in the
tower
middle
is
lane
under
to
attack.
stop this Juggernaut from getting any extra
Radiant
farm.
structures are
As we have the Nature's
fortified.
Prophet continuing to push in the
Dire's
bottom
bottom
lane.
tower is
All
under
the while, we do have the Ancient Apparition trying to slow down the Phantom Lancer in the bottom lane as he continues to work on this first set of tier 2s. And if he gets it, which he's not, Wraith King continuing to
Radiant's
gonna
top
go ahead
tower
and
is
jump
under
on top
attack.
of the wrong target as the Phantom Lancer does what he does best,
Dire's
being
bottom
caught out
tower
by the
is
Witch
under
Doctor,
attack.
slowed down temporarily. Wraith King completely botched ultimate by the
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Witch Doctor. Doesn't matter. Tinker gets the kill on the Phantom Lancer finally. And unfortunately, the tower is just not going to go down just yet. We're still waiting for the first of the tier 2s to drop. Very likely will be this top lane. And everyone on the Radiant just staying spread out at the moment, not choosing to team fight like they were earlier. And that's giving them less experience as they were before because they're not getting the team fights, but at least they're keeping their towers up. That was where their trade was. As the Dire were getting picked off, they chose to play Rat, and they pick off the 3 early towers near 4th, and very shortly, it's just going to come down to a matter of who can get the team fight first. If the Radiant get the team fight, then they're going to continue to win this game and push all the way through the tier 2s very soon. I'm going to say between the 30 and 40 minute mark is when they'll really truly start to shine if they can get those picks. Otherwise,
Roshan has fallen to the Dire.
the Dire are going to continue playing their sneaky little Rat Dota, picking up nice little Roshans, getting their towers when nobody is around, and having great map coverage with all the wards that they've been placing. Wraith King picking up the beautiful little Aegis, and nice little 3 lives up on him.
Double damage.
So, lots of fight coming in, especially with the rest of the Radiant choosing to gank behind on top of the Witch Doctor to easily pick him off. The rest of the team are continuing to fight, and they're going to get a second kill on top of this Wraith King, but not before he has 2 more lives. The Tinker half down, he's going to get wrecked by that Juggernaut. He's going to go down as well. All the while, the Disruptor's getting picked off by the Ancient Apparition, but that's small potatoes compared to the rest of the team as they want. No, the Ancient Apparition does get out of the fight. My apologies. Wraith King is actually going to get the kill on the Juggernaut, and there goes the Aegis. We've got an absolute bloodbath going on as the last of the Radiant, Ness on the Invoker, is going to drop down to this Nature's Prophet very shortly, and he's going to completely whiff on an attack. Doesn't matter. He's going to get the final hit. Complete team wipe on the Radiant side. All for, was it maybe 3 kills on the 3 deaths on the Dire? Either way, Nature's Prophet, Wraith King absolutely getting the farm that they need, getting the gold, consistently taking out the Radiant, and this is going to be in an easy easy middle lane.
Radiant's
There's
middle
no
tower is
power,
under
there's
attack.
no strength up on the Radiant right now to stop this tier 2. And if they're smart and quick about it, they'll just rotate to the top lane, take out the top,
Radiant's middle
and that's
tower
an
has
easy
fallen.
double set of towers. Witch Doctor continuing to slow down the lane, and we do have that rotation up in the top lane, just like we were expecting.
Radiant's middle tower
And by we,
is
I
under
do mean
attack.
us as viewers that time. Very sorry. Not we as in players. Tinker rotating back in on top onto... Nope, I take it back. He teleported out. He is the reason why the lane is pushed in as far as it is. The Radiant just nowhere nearby to stop this team fight, or to stop this tower fight. And waiting for the team... Okay, here we go. Now we have the Tinker on top of the lane, ready to fight, ready to take a tower. We do have the Radiant, who's also ready to fight as well. Are they going to find the Sand King? Is the Sand King going to find the Tinker? It doesn't look like it, as the rest of the Radiant are going to continue picking on this Witch Doctor, being the sacrificial lamb, as the Tinker chooses to run away. And there he goes. Parting is such sweet, sweet sorrow, says the Tinker as he runs away and chooses not to feed. Likewise, we do have this tower still up. It's not within deny range. And the Radiant are continued to be threatened by the possibility of
Radiant's
giving an
middle
extra
tower is
massive
under
amount of
attack.
gold to the Dire. Ready to jump on this tower and deny it at a moment's notice. Hopefully they get that opportunity for their sake. All the while, the Observer Ward continuing to spot out the extra amount of gold going toward the Dire right now. Let's take a look at those graphs real quick. We're over to 7,500, near 10,000 gold on the Dire, and we even have a firm swing of XP on the side of the Dire. It does appear to be picking back up ever so slightly, probably because of that simple Witch Doctor kill. But overall, not too big of a deal. Phantom Lancer continuing to push, get some extra gold, and lane control as he returns to the bot lane with the extras. And finally, nope, we don't have a tank here. I guess it's not a 3-minute mark yet. We'll probably see it here in the
Radiant's
21,
top tower is
24,
under
27 minutes. So next minute. There we go. Now we have the Nature's Prophet
Radiant's
finally
top
getting the
tower
kill.
has
Nice
fallen.
little rat Dota as he returns. Nope, that's the Tinker in the bottom lane. So unfortunately, Radiant just not able to get the gold for able to stop that gold, which they desperately needed. As they're continuing to push and sneak in this middle lane. They're going to find the Tinker, but are they going to be able to initiate on top of it? Not before they take a couple rockets to the Fate. There's the start of it. Sand King starting to work on him as the Invoker gets the kill. There goes the Tinker as well. Oh, excuse me. I was expecting the Ancient Apparition. So, 3 dropping very well on the Dire. Great job, Radiant, as they're going to hopefully get this tier 1 mid. They need to get some further map control. Strangely popping a lot of wards on the bottom room, but other than that, they only have 1 offensive ward up in the top lane, or up in the top jungle. So, looking for whatever picks they can. It did pay off, fortunately, as they dove underneath the tier 1 tower, which, let's be honest, is really not that big of a concern. And everybody more than willing to reset and go back to their standard lanes and positions. While we got a moment, I'm going to say, once again, thank you for joining me today. I really do appreciate you coming and checking out my stream. If you like what I'm doing, please favorite or follow me. I'm going to be doing consistent pub work. In fact, I do have a second game coming up, so please stick around for that one. Otherwise, if there's something I'm not doing or something you want to see me improve on, let me know in chat. I do have my eye on it, and I always appreciate the extra little advice. Otherwise, stick around. Let's keep having some fun. Nature's Prophet continuing to work in the middle tier 1, finally getting the first couple of hits on it as the Tinker stops him and slows down that lane as best as he can.
Dire's middle
Everybody
tower
else just
is
kind of
under
searching
attack.
around. Wraith King continuing to work in the bottom lane. Everybody completely spread out on both sides, waiting for that extra little bit of gold. We do have on the Tinker, he does not have the Dagon just yet, strangely enough. Maybe he's working on a BKB? Maybe? Not entirely sure. Either way, guess we'll see what happens. The rest of the Dire actually lining up and grouping up in the bottom lane. Hopefully going to work on top of this Phantom Lancer. They desperately know they need it. All while the Radiant continue to work on top of this Tinker. The Sand King is barely going to miss the stun there. He's going to try as well as the Invoker tried to follow up, but it just didn't pay off, unfortunately. So both teams going fishing for one another in the opponent's hard lane, and it's just not paying off for either side, unfortunately. Both teams able to sneak back out of their opponent's clutches. And everybody, more or less, just returned to what they were doing before, waiting for it all the while. As the Wraith King continues to get picked on. He doesn't have any mana for his ultimate just yet. So he needs to go home and heal himself back up. Will do, thank you very much. As we do see the Nature's Prophet being continued to be picked up by the Juggernaut, who's going to barely dodge that last hit attempt by the Juggernaut. So he's going to get the kill for that one. Phantom Lancer actually getting the kill on top of the Ancient Apparition as the Witch Doctor is going to try and get out, and he does. Just wasn't stunned in
Radiant's
time.
bottom tower is under attack.
Or just wasn't taken out in time by the Phantom Lancer, who does in turn get picked off by the Tinker. Big play on the side of that Tinker, stopping the Rat Dota potential on the Radiant side. And they're going to do whatever they can to push in this bottom lane and take out the last of the tier 2s. Wraith King returning to the fight, ready to take this tower alongside his buddy Nature.
Radiant's bottom
And
tower
we will
is
very
under
shortly
attack.
potentially see that Tinker, who's
Radiant
actually being
structures
picked
are
up by the
fortified.
Invoker in the bottom lane just yet. No, he's just being slowed and stalled. Juggernaut continuing to be where he isn't welcome and being pushed out of his own lane by the Wraith King, who's diving way too far. He's going to go ahead and stun up the Juggernaut as he continues to just scare everybody out of the lane.
Radiant's bottom tower is under
Dire
attack.
pushing in everything as best they can, hoping to get this tier 2 as the Invoker chooses to cancel his teleport and walk manually to the middle lane. He doesn't want to feed just yet. Wraith King, he's got the mana to return, and he's going to do so very shortly, but not hopefully before... Nope, Nature's Prophet's going to get the Disruptor kill. I think it was going to go to the Tinker with the rockets. Witch Doctor trying to jump back out as quickly as he can. Invoker being slowed down, and he's almost dead, but he's going to get out. Juggernaut being forced to pop his Blade Fury. He might very well get out of this, not before the AA ultimate. Oh, he's not going to walk into that, is he? No, he's not. He does get out very closely. Come on, camera. Come on, camera. All right. The rest of the team continuing to work on the middle on the tower. Ancient Apparition not getting the last hit as the Sand King denies the tower. Great little finish there for the Radiant, but unfortunately, they're losing too much and gaining too little. Thank you very much. Just taking a quick peek over your text there. Otherwise, once again, everybody just choosing to go back to resetting while the rest of the Dire come back into play. We are back to a 10,000 gold lead on the side of the Dire, but however, the XP is once again swung on the side of the Radiant. They did a great job holding the well, except for the tower dropping, of course. They did a great job denying the tower, and likely they did get a solid few kills out of that. And they are on 4 kills, but ultimately, they do have their backs against the wall at this point. So,
Haste.
Tower means everything, kills mean nothing, and we will hopefully see the Radiant make a great possibility of coming back in this fight. It's going to be very difficult, especially with the Tinker and Nature's Prophet, but we may very well see that if they continue to get some great fights off. Tinker pushing back in the lane as best as he can as the Juggernaut gets the... Come on, camera. I'm trying. I'm very sorry, guys. Oh, I don't understand why it swings to one way and not the other, but whatever. Nature's Prophet continuing to push back in the top lane as the rest of the Radiant forced to back out. Nature's Juggernaut even hopefully going to choose to come back and stop the Nature's Prophet push. AA Ultimate even coming back in to soften up this Juggernaut. Going to miss entirely, hitting nothing. As the Radiant continue to just solidify themselves in the middle lane. Nature's Prophet with no mana whatsoever going to try and pick on this Juggernaut. Invoker's going to spot him and see if he can catch this Nature's Prophet. He doesn't have any mana, and there goes the Ghost Walk, slowing him down further by Cold Snaps. Tinker choosing to join the fight, and he's going to jump right on top of the Juggernaut and actually turn him into... Come on, Cameron, this is stupid. Oh my gosh, I don't like this, not one bit. Disruptor being picking off the Tinker. I might just have to go back to my standard system. This is too pathetic. This is driving me batshit crazy. Phantom Lancer taking out the Witch Doctor. Sorry about the cursing. I don't like this system. I'm trying to get used to it, but it's got more cons than pros. I don't like it in the least. All the while, back in the bottom lane, we do see the Wraith King choosing to finally get out of the fight, heal himself back up, and return to the fight. Oh, boy, boy. Heal himself back up before he chooses to return to the fight, are the words I was looking for. While the Phantom Lancer, he's slowly getting there. He finally has his Diffusal Blade and the Manta Style, and now he picks up a beautiful little Reaver for that heart. So... finally, some late game potential coming in on the side of the Phantom Lancer. Hopefully, he'll get his fight coming in very shortly. Otherwise, the majority of the fight has been squarely on the Juggernaut's shoulders for now. Invoker's been doing whatever he can to help pick off starting off with the, I shouldn't say everything squarely on one player's shoulders. That's not very fair. So I will take that step back. Tinker continuing to pick on the team, and the Disruptor making a smart call and dropping a Sentry Ward, which got rid of that little vision that the Tinker used. So very well done there. As everybody else just waiting for the other team to make a mistake. We do have some extra vision. Nope, that is just a Sentry Ward. Nonetheless, everybody on the Dire just completely out of position, strangely enough. The only ones actually doing anything valid right now are the Nature's Prophet and the Wraith King. Radiant deciding, because of the awkward movements by the Dire, they thought they were going to go, that the Dire were checking out Roshan, but Likewise, they were not. Look at all the damage coming in from this Juggernaut. Now, thank you to the start of the heart. Oh, excuse me, not a heart. My mistake. What was I thinking? Who picked up the heart? Phantom Lancer. My bad. Nonetheless, the Roshan does get spotted out by the side of the Dire. They're going to continue working on the Roshan and see if they can take that last couple of hits. March of the Machines doing their work and keeping his health regen down. As the fight is being picked up on the Dire. They're desperately searching for this Invoker who ran a Ghost Walk. Juggernaut actually getting the pick on the Ancient Apparition. As they continue to work on the Phantom Lancer, Wraith King forcing to pop his BKB just to get out of that fight. Sand King's going to go ahead and drop as the Wraith King continues to chase down. 3 down on the side of the Radiant. 4 very shortly as the Phantom Lancer does get out. The invisibility, the dust does wear off. And he's going to get out okay.
Is under attack.
Very sloppy fight on the side of the Radiant, diving way too far. And they're going to get this free Roshan out of it as the rest of the Radiant are once again stuck licking their wounds, walking away. Phantom Lancer is the only one doing anything worthy right now, getting whatever gold he can. And there goes the Nature's Prophet backing out. Wraith King picking up yet another Aegis, continuing to be a problem for the Radiant. Nonetheless, Heart is finished on the Phantom Lancer, which is exactly what he needs. This will keep his nice little illusions back in the fight, full health consistently, which is always a great pickup, especially with that damage. It's going to be a lot of... That's really their only shot to counter against all of this Rat Dota potential. It's 2 steps forward, 3 steps back on the side of the Radiant. Every time all the Dire are really doing for them right now are delivering creeps into the Radiant's hands, trying to give them whatever gold they can. Likewise, the Dire still are vastly on the side of the gold, and Radiant are continuing to maintain their lead in the experience. Nonetheless, I don't know who's going to really win this fight. The Radiant have been showing that even though they're down a full set of Tier 1 and Tier 2 racks, they're holding their own in the fights. And that's just something the Dire, they can't do. That's not what their lineup is meant to do, is fight. And therefore, the Radiant, going for whatever team fights, doing whatever smoke ganks they can, they have paid off once in a while. Lane where the Dire 4 members are continuing to be spotted out, waiting for the rest of the Radiant to take a step in, hopefully get these picks as they're choosing whether or not they want to initiate on top of it. We do have the Invoker popping his Ghost Walk, hoping to get some nice little pickup. Vision started up. Ancient Apparition throwing around some Ice Vortex just for Vision as Invoker smartly takes a step back. Radiant are choosing not to pursue this while the Juggernaut in the top lane continues just to work on the towers, or work on creeps. Speaking of, nicely enough, we do have the Phantom Lancer very much ahead when it comes to the last hits in gold. Dire otherwise in the lead there, but if anybody needs the gold right now, it is the Phantom Lancer. And here we begin to see some fight potential on the side of the Dire, who did catch out the Phantom Lancer, popping dust, but it just did not do anybody any good. Not going to spot anything, and they're going to just continue to take steps back on the Radiant side. All the while, Dire just pushing in everything. They're more than happy just to continue pushing in a lane, which is exactly what they do. The instant the Radiant choose to come in and pursue something, they're just going to go jump to the top lane and work on that for a while. Nature's Prophet accidentally, potentially missing his jump out. Not that big of a deal, and he is going to go ahead and jump out. Pushing in the lane as best they can. Juggernaut being worked on a little bit, doesn't really matter. Once again, he pops his Blade Fury to get himself out of that mess as the Nature's Prophet does exactly what we were thinking and continues to jump to the top lane. So unfortunately, there's not a whole lot the Radiant can do in this situation. 3 steps forward, 4 steps back. As soon as they want to go in for a fight, unless they properly choose to smoke or throw some true invisibility in some form, they're going to have a very difficult time fighting back.
Under attack.
The Rat Dota is strong. Very unfortunate. Tango Wango continuing to just push back all these Phantom Lancer illusions. But fortunately for the Radiant, it does appear that the Phantom Lancer illusions are pushing stronger than anything else. pushing stronger than the March of the Machines, which is great for them. Back in the bottom lane, the Aegis is being popped up on the Wraith King, so that does mean he's lost 2 of his lives now. Oh, excuse me, no, he's simply out of mana. Wow! Crazy enough, he does get absolutely blown up, fortunately due to the Invoker EMP, stopping him 3 down on the side of the Radiant, or on the side of the Dire, and they want more. They're going to continue forcing the BKB being popped on the side of the Tinker, and the Phantom Lancer getting 1 shot at this. Invoker desperately wanting to help as the Tinker continues to blink away. They don't look like they're going to get the kill for this. They're going to try, and he's going to blink out very smartly just in the nick of time. This is one desperate Tinker. He desperately wants to get away. He wants to keep playing the game on his terms, and it's going to be a very frustrated Radiant as he does finally pick up a level 1 Dagon due to his beautiful little escape. The Radiant have got to be furious. They get a great start on 3 kills on the Dire side, but are completely unable to focus on the one who needs it, who needs to be focused the most. Continuing to feel invulnerable, the Tinker chooses to do the only thing it can and push in the bottom lane, as the Phantom Lancer just says, screw you, I'm going to fight this bottom lane, I'm going to push it back harder than you can push in. And it's going to continue helping everybody out. Likewise, the Tinker pushing it back in the bottom lane. The Phantom Lancer can't be everywhere at once, especially because, if I do recall, he does not have boots of travel. He does not. He only has standard boots. Nature's Prophet catching out the Juggernaut as he continues to drop his Blade Fairy and teleport home. Smart plays by the Juggernaut. And exactly what you would expect and what you want from a game. We don't see a lot of pub games where the right choice to get out of fights are made. We even don't see a whole lot of Town Portal Scrolls, unfortunately. They are pub games, so it is great to see some smart play, counterplay going on. I am greatly enjoying this game right now. I hope you guys are too. Nature's Prophet, or excuse me, Phantom, that is not Nature's Prophet. Phantom Lancer pushing back in the bottom lane, Juggernaut pushing in the top lane, and Nature's Prophet pushing in the bottom lane. So waiting for the Dire to make one stand. Hopefully they can get, their intentions right now are to get a great little couple of picks and force the Radiant to stop their fight potential. All the while, I gotta say, I did love that great little play by the Invoker, stopping the Wraith King by blowing up his entire set amount of EMP, forcing the Aegis pop, but ultimately not a whole lot else they could do. And here comes the smoke gank from the Radiant. They're searching all over the place, wasting time, trying to find whatever they can, and they're not going to find anything. They've probably got about 30 seconds more of smoke. Come on, camera, stop fighting me. As we continue to, nope, they are going to miss the Wraith King, as they're going to continue working into this bottom lane, drop some wards in their jungle, and just peace out, unfortunately. Things did not work as planned, but you can't blame them for trying.
Radiant's top tower is under
All the
attack.
while, fortunately for them, there we go. We do have some initiation up on top of the Ancient Apparition. The Monkey being pulled in as well as the Invoker gets the first kill. There goes the second. The Disruptor getting the kill on the Witch Doctor support for support there. And the Nature's Prophet says, screw you guys, I'm going to take your tower. You can take your supports, I don't mind. We're going to take your tier 3s. And they're going to do so very willingly as the whole rest of the Radiant are forced to teleport home. And the Necro books are continuing to push in the lane. I believe that is a level 3 Necro.
Radiant's top
Yes, it
barracks
is.
are under attack.
Actually, my apologies for missing the kill. Phantom Lancer getting the kill on the Nature's Prophet. And Juggernaut actually being picked off by the Tinker. So 3 continuing to go down on the side of the Dire. And all for... I don't know. This Juggernaut is very much necessary for the Radiant side right now. They cannot believe that their only counter to pushing back out the lanes is the Phantom Lancer. Invoker is very much necessary to take out the team, but they have to rely on both the Juggernaut and the Phantom Lancer to push back in the towers if this is what they're going to want to do to fight. 45 minutes into the game, no clear winner. We do finally see the first set of racks being, or not racks, tier 3 being taken out. Ranged barracks almost melting. But it does look like with time, once the backdoor protection does
Dire's top tower
kick
is
back
under
in,
attack.
that we will have a heal. All the while, the Radiant are ready to say, you don't have half your push potential.
Dire's
We
top
want to
tower
fight.
is under
Ancient
attack.
Apparition forced to pop his ultimate just to stop all the illusions who are not going to be they're not going to be
middle
frozen by the
tower is
AA
under
ultimate.
attack.
And unfortunately, just not able to do a whole lot of work on this tower before the illusions get picked off entirely.
Dire's top tower is
We
under
do see
attack.
the dire rats being returned to base. So if there's any chance, well, unfortunately, I take that back. The Radiant are just nowhere near where they need to be for terms of a fight in the middle lane. Getting some nice little ward kills, but that's not what they want right now. They need to find a way that they can get the massive wipe on top of the Nature's Prophet and the Tinker together, so they have their first opportunity to push into a lane and get a real prize out of a fight. They haven't taken a single tier 2, and I believe they're all, no, excuse me, except for the middle ones. Nope. Bottom and mid are both half down, so there is an opportunity for them to return something. But this top lane is where all their pressure is. They don't have a single tier 1 down, and likewise, they're already almost down with their racks. I will need to figure out the mechanics on why this is not healing. Phantom Lancer actually getting the kill on top of the Witch Doctor as nearby the Roshan pit. So Phantom Lancer very well may be able to start pushing in this Roshan as Invoker is forced to push back against the bottom lane, or top lane. Meatball starts up the softening of the fight as it does set the Treants on fire, and that very well may be one dead ranged barracks. There's nothing that a solo Invoker can do against this. Well, I take that back. He is able to soften it up, but not in time for the racks to drop.
Radiant's top barracks
So that is the
fallen.
first one down, very unfortunately, on the side of the Radiant. They must be feeling helpless right now. There's just nothing they can do to stop this fight, or to stop this Rat Dota. Back in the middle lane, we do see some potential scouting going on by the Ancient Apparition toward the Roshan pit. Not going to find anything or see anything. And we're waiting for the Dire to make a move. We do see up in the top lane the Nature's Prophet coming in on to help with this Juggernaut, as well as the Tinker teleporting in to help push it in. But ultimately, not a whole lot else. Are they going to start this initiation? They are going to start this initiation. The Nature's Prophet smartly waits to use a sheep stick until the Blade Fury is popped. Now it is, and there it begins, and we're going to see some fight coming right on top of this Juggernaut. They desperately want this kill, and he drops for near 400 gold. This might be Dire's opportunity. No, the Wraith King actually does drop down due to the rest of the Radiant continuing to push back in the middle lane. So this very well might be the Radiant's choice for a fight. Even though they may be down with that Juggernaut right now, this might be their only opportunity to see the majority of the Dire pushed together. And they're going to choose to take the step back and not go for it as the Nature's Prophet with his Maelstrom looking for the Mjolnir.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Really is the only thing I can think of that he'd be working on next in this book right now. Invoker actually taking out the Witch Doctor as they finally work on the Tier 1.
Dire's top
Phantom Lancer
tower
getting
has
the kill
fallen.
for that as they continue to push back into Tier 1. The Radiant are ready to fight. We do have the Tinker pushing back against the Tier 2. They don't want to lose this tower. Any little bit of pressure they can possibly
Radiant's
have
middle
is going to be
tower is
very
under
important.
attack.
And it does mean ultimately
Dire's
no
top
creeps
tower
are really
is
going to
under
have any
attack.
strength. As the mid Tier 3 is going to be pushed in by the natural set of creeps, and the Tinker is just going to be pushing in this middle lane, or the bottom lane. Fortunately, the rest of the Radiant are very smart and quick to the
Radiant's
responses. They're going to
middle
push back
tower
out
is
the
under
bottom
attack.
lane. And this is exactly what the Dire need right now. Every last little bit of movement coming in on the side of the Radiant is a mistake. If the Radiant choose to fight, the Dire just need to split away, laugh it off, take a couple steps back, and push in the alternative 2 lanes. If the Radiant choose to take a step back and just wait for the lanes to be pushed in, Dire go and take Roshan. So there is no real winning move for the Radiant right now, unfortunately. Still waiting for them to get that opportunity. They have the great team fight potential, But until they can gank and corner that the Tinker the way they were doing earlier by initiating with that Invoker, I just don't know how well that's going to be. Especially with all the towers down on their side now, this is going to be a very difficult step. Nature's Prophet continuing to push in the top lane. Radiant choosing to push back in the bottom lane. Here comes yet another smoke. I must have been away longer than I thought. My voice is a little dry right now. As they're going to choose to go and take out the preemptive Roshan. This is a very greedy potential kill on the side of the Radiant. Hopefully they get this as the Juggernaut is forced to take the step back and push back in the lane. It's not like the Dire know what they're doing. But all the while, this is a big play for the Radiant. I do greatly appreciate what they're doing. I applaud them for this effort. If they can do this, this is like what I was saying earlier. They can take a couple steps back. They can continue to defend and force the Dire to push in lanes because they won't have anything else.
Roshan has fallen to the Radiant.
Phantom Lancer smartly picking up that Aegis, and this is going to be a great little system as best as they can get for the Radiant as we wait for the Dire to make their move. How are they going to choose to respond to this? Tinker doing what Tinker does best. He's got himself a level 5 dagger, which was rather quick, to be frank with you. And now he's just saving up for buybacks. As a matter of fact, let's take... that is the right button. Good, I'm starting to get him memorized. Juggernaut, did he just pop his ultimate? No, he did not pop his ultimate. Blade Dance. Omni Slash is the word I'm looking for. They're ready to fight. Radiant pushing back in the middle lane. They're saying now is the time, do or die. We've got the Aegis. We want this fight. If it's gonna happen, it's gotta happen right now. They're gonna take the tier 2, especially with the Nature's Prophet way up in the top lane. Invoker scouting him out, waiting for that return. Otherwise, this may be a tier 2 down. Doesn't appear to be. As the Radiant are forced to take a couple steps back. The Juggernaut just not ready to admit defeat at this point. He's backed up. He doesn't want to back up. There we go. Now comes the teleport home. As the Nature's Prophet back in the bottom lane, just continuing to push as best as he can.
Tower is under attack.
And just waiting. Phantom Lancer
Middle
taking
tower
out...
has fallen.
What did he take out? The middle. Of course he took out the middle. What else would it be? He waited for the creep wave so we could build up the nice little illusions and push everything right back in. Very well played on the side of the Radiant. Getting their first tier 2 of the game. Even with all of the tiers 2s down on their side, they have very, very slowly been making a comeback. The gold graph near even, very close to about 1,000. Very much on the side of the Radiant for the side of the XP. Was that 15,000? That's closer to 20,000 experience on their side. Absolutely remarkable. Let's take a look at their hero levels right now. The Radiant are very much up on the leaderboard right now. Very well played. They're going to find the Tinker, and they're actually going to continue picking on him. He's forced to pop a BKB as they continue to reinitiate on top of the Juggernaut, who does not have Blade Fury. And he's going to drop right down to that Tinker. And unfortunately, here comes the Sand King with the double kill! And he gets the Tinker, both the Ancient Apparition, as he continues to work on the Witch Doctor, but that's not where they should be focusing. The Invoker smartly gets the kill on top of the Nature's Prophet as the Wraith King becomes the next target. And doesn't matter, Tinker gets the kill on top of that Invoker. The Dire finding 2 gems, both being picked up on the Witch Doctors. They continue to work on top of this Disruptor. They want the kill. The Tinker's gonna get it. Uses the dagger multiple times for that kill. And unfortunately, the only person who has the Aegis is the one who doesn't die. Sand King doing immaculate work with that double kill, but ultimately that still remained to go in the way of the Dire.
Tower is under attack. Dire's bottom tower has
All the
fallen.
while, a beautiful little play by the Phantom Lancer. Because he wasn't in the fight, he gets himself a great little tier 2 tower. And they're continuing to threaten the Dire. Fight us or die, they say. As we take your towers, if you don't stop our tower fight, we will show you the true meaning of Rat Dota. The Dire, desperate to push in whatever they can, continuing to work on the tier 3 in the top lane, push whatever they can in, but ultimately they're slow. They have two characters who have very slow push potential against one side of the Radiant who's very fast push potential and 4 amazing fight potential. This is Radiant's time to shine, and let's see if they can get a full set of racks out of this. I do wonder who's going to get the first full set of racks.
Dire's
We
top
will see
tower
what
is
happens.
under attack.
Waiting for the Radiant. They're looking for the fight. They will continue to push back in the top lane. The epicenter, no, Chris. The epicenter is back up on the Sand King. He's ready to cause some havoc. Push back in the lane. Phantom Lancer even pushing ahead of everybody else. He's got a fresh BKB on the courier, waiting or on the stash, waiting for the fight whenever he needs it. After the Aegis, that's the replacement. They're going to continue to work on this tier 2 tower, and that's going to be one very dead. Look at how much damage it's taken even without the backdoor protection, and it's melting. And the Dire are running out of options. Their rat potential has failed, and now here comes the first true attempt on the Radiant side to take a tier 3. Nonetheless, the Nature's Prophet in the bottom lane trying to get them to go home. Go home, Radiant. We beg you. Leave us alone. As the Wraith King initiates on top of the Juggernaut, who's going to be forced back with a Blade Fury. The Phantom Lancer being targeted, but it doesn't matter. He still has an Aegis, and he's completely unstoppable. He's destroying the Wraith King and as they continue to work on him. Aegis being popped. Wraith King doesn't know how to respond. He runs away as best as he can. The Phantom Lancer needs to get out of this. You've lost your fight potential, buddy. And he's going to drop, giving you near 1,200 gold. They didn't get the objective. They needed to get it, and unfortunately they were forced back, especially after the Disruptor failed. Fell is the word I was looking for. Juggernaut returning home, continuing to work on the middle lane, popping his Mask of Madness just to push the middle lane back out. Very much at a standstill here, and we do finally, for the first time all game, see the gold in their favor. But it doesn't matter. The XP is so high in their favor right now. We have no buybacks available on the Dire whatsoever, except for the Nature's Prophet, and that's just not going to do them any good. The Radiant are ready to knock down their doors. Invoker spotting out the Nature's Prophet with the Ghost Walk. He's going to catch him. He's going to stop him. The Tinker's coming in for the fight. He's just going to casually push him away and run for his life. Oh boy, my voice. Tinker taking out the Invoker. Juggernaut trying to do whatever he can. He's going to be hexed and he's going to be blown up close, but no cigar on the side of the Nature's Prophet. What a game. Boy, am I enjoying this one. Not too many times do I find games this exciting. Sand King being forced to pick up whatever the Invoker was not able to finish earlier when it comes to the creep camps. And likewise, we do have the Wraith King back in the bottom lane. Invoker buying back into the fight. Dire do or die opportunity for the Dire. They want this tier 3 racks, the top racks. They might just get it if the Radiant don't choose to jump in this very soon. In comes the Tornado, pushing everybody back, followed by the Tornado, by the Meatball. Wraith King being picked off now before the Nature's Prophet takes out the Disruptor. Doesn't matter. There goes the first life of the Wraith King as they continue to work on the Witch Doctor. He's going to drop very shortly. No, he looks like he very well. There he goes. He drops down to the Phantom Lancer. As the Wraith King continues to get picked off. 3, 4 down on the side of the Radiant. Invoker's the only one left standing. As the Phantom Lancer's forced to buy back in. Invoker can't do anything. He's too squishy. As the Radiant smartly say, we took your racks and it's time for us to take a step back. Our Rat Dota has continued to prevail and we are taking your base. There's nothing you can do about it. Pushing in the middle lane. Tinker joins the fight. Returns in, hoping to find that Invoker, but he pops invisibility just to run away. Phantom Lancer ready to fight. There goes the second tier 3, and they're going to continue working on the objectives, doing what the Radiant were unable to do in the top lane earlier in the game. Working on the objective, taking out the melee barracks. There goes the kill on the Wraith King, who does buyback, dropping a gem just to continue going back into the fight. There goes the Ancient Phantom Lancer being finished off by the Phantom Lancer taking it out. Disruptor calling the GG. Unfortunately, this is not a tournament match, so the Radiant are unable to succeed properly. 2 full set.
has fallen.
What a waste.
Yes. I unfortunately have to say that... well, I don't know if that's entirely true. When you see a Nature's Prophet being picked up, I wouldn't normally expect to also see a Tinker. So that was a lot of rat potential. They just didn't have the proper means and channels to stop it. It's too much rat. Slow to mid push potential at the beginning of a game cost them far more than strong late game push by the Phantom Lancer. All the while, the Wraith King with his gem ready to spot out the invisible Invoker. What else does he really have? Mid lane, we do have the Juggernaut and the Sand King desperately pushing in the lane. The Invoker's not going to be able to do a whole lot else except for throw his Tornado out. And the last of the barracks are going to be continuing to be worked on. Tinker bought back into the game, jumping down to the bottom lane as quickly as he can. Doesn't matter. Wraith King losing his first life as he chooses to initiate. And the Nature's Prophet being picked off now before the rest of the team say, you know what, we need this. They need the Wraith King down. 2, 3 down on the side of the Radiant. Invoker being picked off by the Nature's Prophet. The only one last standing is the Disruptor. What's he going to do other than offer himself a nice little sandwich?
Radiant's bottom barracks
Nature's
has
Prophet
fallen. The
being a
Dire
complete
now have
douchebag.
mega creeps.
Not a fan of that.
Radiant's middle tower
Not
is under
cool, dude.
attack.
All the while, Nature's Prophet more than happy with their mega creeps, taking the step back. Very sorry to see the bad manners on the Nature's Prophet. Not okay. All the while, Tinker to continue to push in that bottom lane.
Radiant's middle tower is under
He's
attack.
going to teleport. What's he going to pick up now? Oh. He picked up a nice little Ethereal Blade. I do like that pickup. That's going to continue to absolutely devastate when it comes to his laser beams and his Dagon. So, end game is their term, is what they're looking for right now. Gold has vastly swept in the favor of Radiant. About a 12,000 gold lead, or gold swing now. 15,000 XP, but unfortunately, that just doesn't do them any good at this point. And we have a full level 5 Dagon in one purchase, completely picked up by the Nature's Prophet. Does look like they want to have some absolute burst going on too. Now they're ready to change out the rats for fights. And we'll see the rest of this game very shortly. Right now, the Radiant just holding on to whatever they can at this point. The Dire, unfortunately, chose to slow play the end of the game. Changing out their items for burst and power and waiting for that last fight. We'll see it actually pays off. They do have mega creeps that they have to fight against, and it is causing problems for them with the Phantom Lancer just doing whatever he can, but he can only work on one lane at a time. And here comes the Roshan attempt on the side of the Dire. That's going to be one devastated Roshan. I'm thinking 30 seconds, and not even that. Say 10. And there he goes. Wraith King's potentially going to pick it back up yet again.
Roshan
Ancient
has
Apparition
fallen to the
picking up.
Dire.
Probably because he's the only one with the slots to do so. Yep, and he does. He even has the cheese. Nope,
Radiant's
choosing to
middle
leave the
tower
cheese.
has fallen.
Did they sell the cheese? I think they might have sold it. Unless Monkey... Nope, he might have just sold it. Either way, they're going to initiate with the Ancient Apparition ultimate. They're down to one tier 4 left. And here come the rest of the Dire. They're ready to march in and finish their game. Take what they started. Here comes the initiation on top of the Sand King. First kill goes down to the Tinker. Second kill being picked up on top of the Juggernaut, I'm thinking. Nope, that's the Phantom Lancer who was forced to be popped as BKB. They're going to continue working on the Ancient Apparition. Little do they realize he's got the Aegis. And there goes the Phantom Lancer to the Nature's Prophet, picking up, was it the second kill? No, Tinker got the first one. There goes the tier 4, and there goes the Ancient.
Is under attack.
Very well played, Radiant, but unfortunately, Dire take this game. Great job, aside of the bad manners from the Nature's Prophet. the Rat Dota does win yet another game, unfortunately. So we will see. Hopefully the Radiant are able to realize that they can walk out of this game with their heads held high. They did a great job. And their fight potential just didn't stop the Rat Dota. So nonetheless. Anyway, my name is Ninja Chris. I'm going to go do a short break for just a moment as I get some coffee in my veins, and we will be back in just a couple minutes. Thank you once again, and we will return very shortly.